Welcome back to the show. David Mamet's Pulitzer Prize-winning play Glengarry Glen Ross is back on the boards here in New York. The show features an all-star company of actors, including Oscar and Emmy Award-winner Kieran Culkin. I recently sat down with Kieran to talk about tackling Mamet on Broadway and much more. Actor Kieran Culkin is having one hell of a spring. In March, he picked up his first Oscar for A Real Pain and went straight into technical rehearsals for the hit Broadway revival of David Mamet's Glengarry Glen Ross. How has life changed since winning the Oscar?
It hasn't yet. I don't know, it hasn't. Because I flew back, I think the next day or 2 days later and went right into tech, and went right into doing this play, where I felt way behind and had to do all this catching up, and then I've just been doing the play.
In the play, Culkin takes on Richard Ricky Roma, a charismatic and ruthless real estate salesman navigating a cutthroat industry. The role has previously been played on Broadway by Joe Mantegna, Liev Schreiber, and Bobby Cannavale, and on screen by Al Pacino. Culkin says he wasn't familiar with Glengarry prior to saying yes to this revival. Your only introduction to this play is just reading the text.
Yeah.
As a brand new play.
Yeah.
Mamet is so specific, the language is so specific. So what has that been like for you diving into this world of David Mamet?
I love that because I think also the last few years, because Kenny Lonergan's the same way. Like he'll tell you missed the comma, and when you put the comma back in, he's right. Like not just with the flow of how it is, but how it lands. But then doing Succession, where it was like the writing was also really great and specific, but they said also play with it if you'd like. I'm not going to prepare. I'm just going to throw stuff out there and see what lands. So I was a little bit afraid of it feeling like I'm going backwards a bit, but doing it with a playwright that has the dialogue very natural but very specific made it easier for me.
Kieran Culkin was hesitant to return to Broadway. He told me that his last time on the main stem, starring in Kenneth Lonergan's This Is Our Youth, opposite Michael Cera and Tavi Gevinson back in 2014, was such a fulfilling experience, he wasn't sure he could ever duplicate or top it.
I did this thing with my best friend, Michael Cera, on a stage. I was like, this is the perfect way to do it. Why would I ever do it again if I did it the perfect way? And then this came with this group of people.
A cast that includes theater veteran Michael McKean, and in their Broadway debuts, Bob Odenkirk and Bill Burr.
I remember at the table read being like, oh, everyone is perfect for this, and Bob's voice is very specific, it's great. But Bill Burr and Michael McKean did their scene in Act 1, and just at the read I went, you can put this on tomorrow. No, there's not.
Just last year, Culkin picked up his first Emmy for the hit series Succession. And now he's part of a growing trend of Succession stars making their mark on Broadway. Jeremy Strong won a Tony for An Enemy of the People last year. Peter Friedman starred in Job earlier this season. And Sarah Snook is just a few blocks from Kieran performing a one-person adaptation of Oscar Wilde's The Picture of Dorian Gray. Obviously, we're in the midst of the crazy spring season, but I love that you were able to be, in a way, at Sarah Snook's opening.
It happened, yeah. My wife went to go to the opening and I had to go do my show. So I dropped her off at the theater and I said, do you want me to go out and walk you in? She goes, no, she literally said this. She goes, no, don't do that. Just let's not make a scene. I close the door, we start going, and at first I see oh, there's Arian. Hey, there's Peter Friedman. Oh, it's all the Succession people. And I rolled down the window, I love Succession. And she immediately was like, oh God, I just said don't make a scene. And now he's literally sticking half his body out a window and making a scene. So she was a bit devastated, but yeah, it was fun.
Hey, Benji, I just got to the airport. I really hope you left already. Oh, God, you made it.
What's up, cuz?
Kieran and his friend, filmmaker and actor Jesse Eisenberg tapped into their inner theater kids while on the set of A Real Pain. Culkin even saying Jesse is a wealth of Broadway trivia, which made this self-proclaimed theater kid want to chime in.
He really does have encyclopedic knowledge about that. And I said, my really good friend Brett was nominated for a Tony. He goes, yeah, Brett Tabasel. I went, you know that? He goes, yeah, it was for Big. And I remember that. He wore a green suit to the Tonys. I'm like, how do you know that? He's just aware of, and that was the mid-90s, Big, whenever that
1996.
was. So. See, you know that.
I know
so you got that. See,
I saw that performance.
Did you? Brett Tabasel was the best part of that show. So
Did you see it?
Oh, I used to go 3 times a week because he was we were in school, and then after school I would go see his show. I saw Big the Musical all the time.
That's so rare, because I know that cast album by heart.
So do I, and I know his rap by heart. And Jesse had a lot to say about it, but he knew that because he used to listen to that recording all the time. So on the set, we would just be referencing it all the time, like, you know, just to throw it in the scene, just like time to hang with the gang out at the mall, but my best friend still didn't call.
Still didn't call.
All the plans we made are in the crapper. I'm so pissed. I'm talking like a rapper.
Oh my God.
Yeah. He gave me the original cast recording on vinyl as a rap gift.
That's for a real pain.
For a real pain. That was the rap gift to me. Is he found the cast recording on vinyl.
See, you are a theater kid. You are such a theater kid. And who knew? A Big the Musical connection. There you go. You can catch Kieran and Glengarry Glen Ross now playing at the Palace Theater. And thank you to Tempo by Hilton Times Square for hosting our conversation. All right, a quick programming note before we go. On Thursday, May 1st, the nominations for the 78th Annual Tony Awards will be announced. Be sure to tune into a special Tony edition of Mornings on One beginning at around 7 a.m. And stay tuned next week for my chat with Kieran's Glengarry co-stars, Bill Burr, Bob Odenkirk, and Michael McKean, plus Orville Peck and Eva Noblezada from Cabaret. All right, that's a wrap for this week's show. Join us next week for more of the best of Broadway and beyond. And until then, I'll see you at the theater.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. For more stories in your communities, click the subscribe button right here. You can also download our app or watch us on TV for the latest news and weather updates every 10 minutes and more. We'll see you then.